Hi, I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is a slice of New York. Every fall, the New York City Marathon sets the city abuzz. It's the world's largest marathon and a huge slice of New York. Thousands of runners from around the globe descend on the city for what is a premier event that many call the best day in New York City and possibly the world. It's organized and promoted with videos like this, produced by New York road runners. Participants, including men, women, young and old, and those facing physical challenges, take on the 26.2-mile course beginning at the Verrazano Bridge on Staten Island.
I get chills just thinking about being on that start line. Let's go, New York!
Some 2 million people line the grueling course as it winds its way through the boroughs of Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx before the runners cross the finish line in Central Park.
Oh my God, it was amazing. I've never felt so loved.
We did it, though.
We did it. I'm really, really grateful.
But there's much more to running than the marathon. Countless runners participate in the sport both individually or in groups or clubs like Harlem Run.
I learned so much about Harlem itself from the people who are from Harlem.
Boasting more than 100 runners, Harlem Run was founded back in 2013 with a vision of empowering urban communities to get fit. The group is also connected to New York road runners, but firmly rooted in the community.
Harlem for me is life.
I felt at home again.
Being able to run through the neighborhood, seeing all the culture and history that's here.
The clubs bring a social element to training that a lot of runners enjoy. Many of the members of Harlem Run are black and brown, but organizers drive home the point that it is inclusive and all are welcome.
No one gets left behind. We leave no person behind.
That's a very good message to begin with. Joining us now, we have two runners from the group Harlem Run. Wilson Darko has been running for about a decade, and for the last 3 years, he's been active with Harlem Run. He ran the 2024 marathon, and he also competes in something called Spartan Races. And we also have another Harlem Run member, Myrriam Grubb. Myrriam leads the Run Walk group and has been with the organization for about 3 years. And interestingly enough, started as a walker and progressed to the point where she's now a full-blown runner. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Okay, Wilson, why are running groups like Harlem Run important?
What excites me about running groups like Harlem Run and things across the city is it's such a great community opportunity. For a lot of people, they've been runners for years, but for a lot of people, it's their first time moving, right? Whether it's walking, scaling up to the point of running. So having a group that encourages you, challenges you to be the best version of self, and not necessarily have to compete with others and stuff. I think that's something that I really find exciting about Harlem Run.
Myrriam, what was it like when you first found Harlem Run?
It was so special because I had actually recently moved to Harlem. So it's like you move into a new neighborhood, trying to find your community. And it was just like the perfect mix of like giving me an opportunity to move my body, get active, find a hobby. I feel like a lot of times it's hard to find a hobby that's not necessarily competition based, just like being able to learn something new. So I found them on social media and the rest was history. I started walking with the walk group. It's so accessible. They have it open to all different, you can start anywhere. So started with the walk group and slowly progressed up to the run walkers. And now I pace the group. So I love leading it and being the same kind of like welcoming spirit that I had when I joined and like being able to give that off to other people who are getting into running as well.
That kind of touches on my next question, and that is what makes this particular group, Harlem Run, so special?
For me, it's that it's located in Harlem. So when we're running through the streets, I'm seeing parts of the neighborhood I would never see because I know you live in a neighborhood, but you end up going up and down the same streets. You go your normal route. But with Harlem Run, we run all throughout Harlem. And I see different parts of the neighborhood and like people are on the street and they cheer us on when they see us. It's not like, oh, get off of the sidewalk. No, they love to see us running through, and we get cheers, and we recruit people. We're like, meet us in Marcus Garvey next Monday, 7 p.m. Come and join. So it's so special to like run within your community with other people living in the community and really like building that social aspect.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, wanted to ask you about that, Wilson. They've really embraced this organization in Harlem, right?
Oh, that's for sure. Like Myrriam said, for the people, it'll be little kids just as we're running. They'll just kind of run along with us for a couple 100 yards, right? They're excited to see other people getting out and getting it, right? Something else that I think is really dope, in terms of the kind of staple areas of Harlem, we do different routes every week, and you get to see parts of Harlem that you might not frequent. Something that happens really often with New Yorkers, you kind of stay in the hub that you're used to. With Harlem Run, it's a chance to see some of the great monuments of Harlem, the Apollo Theater, the this, the that. Like, it's just really fun chances to kind of see what Harlem has to offer.
Mm-hmm. What about the social aspect of running clubs? Is that a big part of it?
Yes, it's definitely not uncommon for us to hit up Harlem Shake afterwards and get like a peanut butter milkshake after our Harlem Run just to keep the party going, because you don't want to go home after you've gotten your endorphins up and like you're feeling good. You've already overshared to the person you were with in the group running through the 3 miles. So yeah, I love like being able to meet up with people after runs.
And it kind of ranges on your personal preference, right? So if you're more of an introvert, you're not trying to talk to a ton of people, there's space for you there. So you can kind of keep to yourself if need be. If you come with friends, there's space for you there. If you're looking for friends, there's space for you there. If you're looking for more than friends, hey, that's your business, right? There's space for you there.
And when do you run?
So we usually run every Monday at 7 p.m. We start at Marcus Garvey Park. We also have runs on Tuesdays, as well as speed runs on Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken. And for the adventurous, we have long runs on Saturdays. So that usually goes well past 7 miles in that case.
I'm fascinated by the fact that you started out as a walker and became a runner. Talk to me a little bit about how that works and how people would do that now.
Definitely. So I'm not a historical runner. I just started this in my 20s, but I joined as a walker because I actually joined with a friend of mine. I was intimidated. I was like, let's go and do this new thing together. We walked and we were like, oh, we feel like this is a nice way to move our bodies, but we could get a little bit more out of this. We moved up to the run walk, and now I feel like it's a lifestyle. Like, it doesn't feel like it's necessarily a competition where you have to constantly progress. Like, sometimes I'm like, I like run walk because it's a pace where I can chat and I can talk and I'm not out of breath. I don't dread it waking up. I don't wake up super sore and dread it the next week. Like, oh, I have to force myself to go. It's like something I look forward to because I think of it as like a social way to move my body.
But when you say run walk, what do you mean?
So it's an interval run walk. So we'll do 2 minutes walking, 2 minutes jogging, back to 2 minutes walking interval over our around 2 mile run walk that we do. So it's a great way to pace, and what we like to say is nobody gets left behind, especially with me as a pacer. So if we're during the jog, we try to stick with like around a 12-minute pace during the jog, but if we kind of start spreading out during that point, because we know a jog is very different for people and it's a transition. Run walk is a very transitional group. So if I see this group is spreading out, I'm like, okay, jumping jacks in the front if you're feeling good, keep your heart rate up while everyone kind of condenses again. So I feel like that kind of the way that we structure the run walk allows such a wide range of people. If it's like you're feeling comfortable walking, you want to try something a little bit harder, you're welcome to join Run Walk, and like there's a place for you there.
Okay, Wilson, a lot of people look at running and they say, man, I just get bored. Not with what you guys are talking about, but they will say, I get bored. You found another way to get that exercise in, though. Talk to us a little bit about the Spartan.
For sure. So like you said, I think standard running is not everyone's ministry. So another option is obstacle course runs, OCRs they call them, and I found that in the Spartan race. So my first Spartan race was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I've done about 8 of them now and recently got a trifecta, which is getting 3 of those races in the same year. It is much more variety. You're doing roughly 20 to 35 different obstacles along the way that you're running.
Like what?
So you might do, let's say like jungle gyms, you might do a rope climb, you might have a sandbag carry up a mountain. It depends, but it's always going to be something new, And especially with the Spartan races, there's always surprises, right? So I think that's where it could be a really fun experience, especially for the person that needs some kind of variety as they're moving along for running.
Okay, so if someone wants to get involved in Harlem Run, you can find them on the internet?
You can find us on Instagram. We have a website, harlemrun.com. We're also Harlem Run on all socials, so come join the party.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, very inspiring. Thank you both.
thank
We have Myrriam Grubb and also Wilson Darko from Harlem Run. We thank them for coming in and sharing their experiences with us. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk more about running and how to get started and overcome obstacles and physical limitations. There is support available. We'll also talk to a man who started running to improve his health. He's now run more than 30 marathons, competing even after recovering from a heart attack. This is a slice of New York. Hi, Mike Gilliam, and this is a slice of New York. Running is one of the most popular sports in America. You don't need to lay out a lot of money to get started, and you don't have to reserve court time or buy golf clubs to play. So how do you get started? Joining me now, we have two men who can help us out. Both have run marathons and are big proponents of running. Douglas, or DJ Oberlin, is an assistant professor of exercise science and recreation at Lehman College. He's run the New York City Marathon and a couple of half marathons. And we have another big marathoner who has run more than 20 and also serves as a guide for ability impaired runners with Achilles International, Victor Sanabria. Victor is also a design director at Brooklyn College. Welcome to both of you. Thanks. DJ, let's start with you. Is it safe for everyone?
I would say it's safe for almost everyone. Individuals who have underlying conditions that they should consult with their doctor. If you've not been active and you try to start and have any sorts of pains, discomforts, good to talk to your doctor. Generally, healthy young individuals can start doing moderate to vigorous physical activity without much concern.
So a person who's in relatively good health can just lace them up and get started?
Pretty much. You should sort of set your pace as your body allows. If you're trying to go out there and just kill it the first day, you might, one, regret it because you feel sore the next day, but also it's not a really sustainable way to build up the endurance to do something longer.
Victor, we always hear that running is good for you. What are some of the actual benefits from taking on running as your sport?
Well, I think the benefits are definitely physical, but also mental. So on the physical side, it's great for your cardiovascular system, great for your endurance, and converting some of your fast twitch muscles into slow twitch muscles, which can help for endurance purposes. But then mentally as well, I think it's a very useful sport for people to kind of meditate while they run, to have a set routine where they can kind of think through the day's problems or sort out anything that's weighing them down. And I think what's great about running is that it's both an individual sport in that it's sort of you versus you, but it's also a community sport as well because there's a lot of different run clubs, different groups that help bring people together.
Achilles International and working with ability impaired runners. Talk to me a little bit about what that is and what you're doing.
Yeah, so Achilles International helps ability impaired runners and athletes to run races not just in New York City or in the States, but all over the world. And I've worked with them since I was 18 as a guide to runners. So they meet every week in Central Park, and they're open to all volunteers to help take part. And then they sponsor different athletes to run races, not just marathons, half marathons as well, all over the world.
Okay, and what impairments are we talking about?
You get a full range, but the runners that I specifically work with are visually impaired. And so I help them, guide them along the course of the race to make sure that they make it safely from start to finish.
And how do you do that? How is that actually done?
So it all depends on the specific runner and their preferences and what they need from me, not just in terms of the pacing throughout the race, but also as far as how to guide them specifically. So some who are severely visually impaired will ask that we either hold hands or hold onto a rope together, and I guide them step by step, talking them through the race to make sure that their footing is correct throughout the 26 miles. Others who may be short-sighted or far-sighted will have different asks from me. Some ask that I speak a lot to talk them through the race. Others prefer silence. So I kind of adapt to the specific athlete.
So I have to ask a question about that, because if you're visually impaired, I would think that it could be difficult if there are any obstructions on the course.
Absolutely.
Do they make sure that the course is completely flat? Are these courses?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the race. So New York in particular is quite hilly because it has all the bridges that you go over, and there's a lot of twists and turns.
But potholes and that kind of stuff?
But potholes and things like that, for the most part, the road runners do a great job of making sure the course is completely safe for athletes of all abilities. And then I'm there as a support to make sure that both the runner that I'm guiding and other runners on the course are safe as well.
Mm-hmm. How did the runners that you work with actually get involved in marathons and running to begin with?
Most of them do it out of pure interest, or they have the specific goal to complete a marathon or complete a half or complete a specific race and reach out to Achilles. And Achilles has a huge presence in New York and in the world major marathons. Achilles does a great job of putting themselves out there to make sure that all runners of all abilities feel welcome in these races.
Mm-hmm. How should a person actually go about getting involved in running, DJ? I mean, what are your first steps? Just to make up your mind you're going to do this, what would you recommend?
So if you're just getting started, you've never run before, one, you want to make sure that you've consulted with your doctor if you've got any sorts of health conditions, because that's where you do worry about injuries. And then taking a pace that suits you. You had your last guest on here talking about walking and then walk, run, and building up, and that's a great way to do it. In fact, I think a lot of the times that you see injuries or things go wrong is when people try to take a little more than they can handle. Like when you have somebody in the marathon who has not trained properly and really kind of takes it lightly. I'm going to go out here and do a marathon. Have you trained? Nah, but I'll just wing it. And that's where you get yourself in trouble. You don't know how your body can handle it. You've not trained for maybe the temperature conditions or anything else. And so it's really a gradually building yourself up, starting with where you're comfortable.
Okay. What is it like when you finish, when you cross the finish line?
I mean, I'd say I'm just happy. I think most people, you've just completed something you set yourself out to do, and it's sort of a celebration then. Again, I liked your last guest talked about they go out after the run because they just want to keep the party going, and I'd say that's kind of the feeling. Oftentimes, if I just finished a race, I'll collect the group of people that I've maybe come there with or run with, and then we'll go get a cup of coffee or hang out and chit-chat. It's a good time.
Your situation would be a little bit different because you're going with people from Achilles. What is the coolest thing someone who completed one of these marathons from that group has said to you at the finish line?
Probably the coolest thing, and the majority of the time when they finish, they'll say, "When's the next one?" You know, the marathon is a beast of a race. It's a real challenge. But the more you do it, my sense is the more you want to keep doing it and keep visiting that feeling of being able to accomplish that goal.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. That's very inspiring, and certainly a good reason for people to take up the sport. Good stuff. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the inspiring journey of a man who has run 39 New York City marathons. He even returned to running after a heart attack. This is a slice of New York. Welcome back. This is a slice of New York. I'm Mike Gilliam. Now to the inspiring story of a man who, through 2024, had finished 39 marathons, and he shows no sign of slowing down. He's a distinguished scholar at the CUNY School of Public Health. Here via Zoom, Dr. Everold Hosein. Dr. Hosein, you're 80 years old now and still hitting the pavement. How do you do it?
there's an old line, one step at a time and slowly. That's how I keep doing it. Yeah, I think it is an addiction. At least my children and my grandchildren tell me it's an addiction. And I do believe that there is an addictive quality to running once you get into it. The chemicals that are formed in your brain, the dopamine and serotonin and all of that good stuff. I think if you stop running, or even when I miss a few days, the body says, hey, I need that serotonin, I need that dopamine. But it's also very good for my health. Although people do say to me, well, you've been running for so many years and you still got a heart attack. What's the deal there? And I then have to go back to my medical colleagues and ask, so what is the deal? And they tell me that people of East Asian origin, Indian origin, apparently we have a propensity for developing plaque, regardless of how much exercise you do. So apparently that must have happened to me. But one of the things that my cardio doctor said to me after I had the heart attack, he says, I know you wonder, why did you get a heart attack, even despite all the running? And I said, but one of the things I must tell you is that there was no damage to your heart. Your heart was very strong, and it was due to the fact that you were running. So your running, in fact, has helped you even though you've had a heart attack. I did get a stent, I did get a pacemaker, and then a few weeks later, I was doing a short jog. I had a very good physiotherapist who helped me after the heart attack.
And how long ago was it that you had the heart attack? Was that like 8 years ago or so?
The heart attack was in, it was election day, and that would have been 2016.
What did your doctor say to you after you had that heart attack and you wanted to go back to running?
Well, I had two cardio advisors, and I had my primary care physician. So one of the cardio guys says, we do want you to keep exercising. That is really essential for after having a heart attack, but you don't have to run a marathon. And I said, all right. And then I went to my primary care physician and I said, this is what the cardio guy is saying. And he says, what does your body tell you? And I said, my body says, keep running the marathon. He says, follow your body. And so I decided to keep training to the point that within a few months, I was able to, start doing a 6-mile run and then stretching that out to a 20-mile run in preparation for the marathon. And I did all of that within a year after having the heart attack.
What's your message to anyone who might be trying to overcome health challenges, medical challenges, and they're thinking about getting back to running or beginning running? What would your message to them be?
Well, I work with the World Health Organization in addition to my CUNY stuff. And with the World Health Organization, one of the areas I work on is what we call non-communicable diseases. So you're dealing with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, etc. And one of the global recommendations we are making and have difficulty getting people to follow, the global recommendation is at least do 30 minutes of walking as a minimum, 5 days a week. And trying to get people to do that globally is quite a challenge for us. And my advice springs from that bit of the World Health Organization's recommendation, which is a daily bout of exercise, whether it's jogging or walking and jogging or just walking. In many instances, I recommend just the walking, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So the research on this is so amazing, both from the point of view of contribution to your physical health, preventing non-communicable diseases like cardio illnesses and diabetes. You may not lose weight, but there's a line in WHO that I love, which says it's better to be fat and fit rather than thin and unfit. There's some dispute about that line, but Anyhow, I recommend to people the daily bout of some kind of movement exercise. By the way, as I say that, one of the things I've started doing now as I've aged is running every other day so that I have a day of rest. So I know one of our colleagues on the screen there has pointed out that rest period is very important. So I'd like to recommend that too. And basically, for one's mental health and physical health, I strongly recommend some kind of physical activity every day.
Where would you be if you never started running?
Where would I be? Probably dead. And I don't mean that in a facetious way. If there is this propensity for developing plaque in your arteries, and if I were not exercising, I think I would be in serious, I would have serious health challenges.
Okay.
If not dead. So I'm very grateful that I had that prompt to start running, and my wife has been very supportive all along. She was hoping that as I get to my 40th New York City Marathon, now that I'm 80, that I might quit marathons, but not quit running or jogging.
Okay, that's going to have to be the last word. Our thanks to Dr. Everold Hosein, DJ Oberlin, an assistant professor of exercise science and recreation at Lehman College, and a marathoner who has run more than 20 and also serves as a guide for ability impaired runners with Achilles International, Victor Sanabria. And thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Gilliam. We'll see you next time on A Slice of New York.